guys, it's Caitlin Marie here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I just want to apologize for not making a video last week because I was sick. It was just a cold like 2 days and didn't feel up to make a YouTube video. But this video gets into this title. Nothing's gonna be spoilers. So like yesterday I watched movies and watched Scream. They just say, oh my god, you're sick. Why are you like good movies? When it was so cold, it was really just stuffy nose and a sore throat. So it's not COVID because so my taste and smell. And 3 was like no one there. So yeah, so basically it's just gonna be a review on the new Scream movie. So if you have not seen it, I advise you not to watch because you probably don't want it to get spoiled. Or if you don't care, then continue watching. But social media right here, and let's just get started.
This isn't funny, Amber.
Would you like to play a game, Tara?
Doors unlocked. All doors locked. Doors unlocked.
Hello?
It's happening. 3 attacks so far. Do you have a gun?
I'm Sydney Prescott. Of course I have a gun.
Something about this one just feels different.
Samantha? I know who you are. I've been through this a lot. This is your life now, which means that whoever this is gonna keep coming for you. You ready for this? Never.
Oh, stop! Wait! There's certain rules to surviving.
The attacks were all on people related to the original killers. Whatever his link is to our past, it's pulled us all back here. And I won't sleep until he's in the ground.
Hello, Sydney. It's an honor.
So I wanted to write down everything that I liked and disliked. You guys can't tell. Like, it's a lot of likes and a lot of dislikes. There's not even enough dislikes. Because I really enjoyed this movie. I might give it a 9 out of 10 and 4.5 stars out of 5. Also, what I think is hilarious is tomorrow I'm getting the first 3 movies on digital copy. I can only find the first 3 in like in a movie together. I couldn't find the 4th one. That's $15. And yes, I enjoyed number 4, but it was not $15 worth. But yeah, let me just get in to Scream. I love to tell you guys the amazing plot. It's just like a Scream movie. I like how it brings in a whole bunch of new cast, but then it also have a regulars. Because what I think was pretty interesting is like in the last 4 movies or whatever, it centered around Sydney and Gail and them. But this one, they're kind of like side characters, which I thought was, pretty interesting. Like, we don't really get to see them until at least half an hour into the movie, and that's with Dewey and stuff. And then Sydney, she's not until like the last like half an hour or whatever. So I liked how we got like other like characters, like kind of like which is what I think they're doing is I think they're going to make another movie, so they gave us a new cast to see, like a new Gail, Dewey, and Sydney to like watch in all the movies. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I loved Jenna Ortega. She became one of my favorite actresses. I think she's just such a great actress. And then she went from Disney and she played in You and um on Netflix, and now she's in Scream. Like, I really like that. And I loved in the beginning how I thought it was just gonna be like another, like from the first one, you know, like with the phone and then she dies, and it's what it makes you think. Cause like the whole like death sequence, which I thought it was cool because they asked what is your favorite scary movie, and I was like, that's the line, and she said the Babadook, and then how it talked about like grievance, and then, you know, and how she didn't like this, and then talked about Stab, which Stab is like the movie's a screen that they did. So I really liked how they did that. I love Jenna Ortega. Like, I really thought that she was gonna, like, you know, like in the first one, that blonde chick, I forgot her name, but she just dies, and then like, oh, but then she doesn't, because like it cuts to like him stabbing her, and then it says like Scream, and then it cuts to, I think, her sister, and then she gets a call from Wes that Taylor, that's his name, was attacked, but survived. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And her sister Sam and her boyfriend Richie, I'm gonna say they're in California. Basically, they want to be with Taylor because they said it was ghost faced or whatever. And Sam has like a little connection to Ghostface, which we'll talk about that a little bit later. So then they go and talk to Taylor. I also liked how, so basically the fourth movie was made in 2011, so they're talking about how they made a Stab 8 in 2011, which I thought was like pretty interesting. Like they made like another Stab movie the same year that a new Scream movie came out for us, which we have the sheriff from the fourth one in it, and which I was funny. She talked about lemon squares. It wasn't like in that one scene she was like, lemon squares taste like, you know.
Your lemon squares taste like ass.
And then Wes, the son who played Clay in 13 Reasons Why, was like open the fridge, and in the fridge had like these lemon squares, which I thought was hilarious. Which I don't think my sister or my cousin, when they watched it with me, didn't understand it because they've watched it forever ago. I just watched it like last month or whatever because when I wanted to watch them. So I thought that was interesting. And then, as always, like the first one was like a horror movie, and the second one they're talking about how it had a sequel and follow the sequel rules, and then the trilogy rules, and then the reboot. But now it's a requel. Like there can't be a reboot, but it also can't be a sequel, which I thought that was pretty interesting because they also talked about Child's Play and Halloween and how they did that. So I thought that was interesting, and I liked Mindy, how she was talking about it, and how she kind of was like the new Randy, but her twin brother, I think Chad, their uncle was Randy, so then we see his sister in it, which I thought was interesting, you know. So, you know. And then, so it had Billy Loomis in it. Basically, it was as in visions or whatever, which is going to go into what I said earlier. So basically what we find out is Sam, Taylor's oldest sister, the one who gets attacked, basically is Billy Loomis's daughter. So what she found out, she was going through a diary when she was like 13 years old, and she found out that, you know, her mom like got pregnant in high school, and that's when the mom and dad got pregnant. She wanted to find a new story. But when she was dating the dad, she got pregnant with Billy Loomis's daughter, with Billy and stuff. And so, you know, but like she told the dad it was his kid. Whatever, we all know what happened to Billy Loomis. So I, you know, definitely never gonna tell your kid who it was. And then when she found out, she was like telling her mother, and then the dad found out. And then the dad left her. She always blamed like the dad leaving on herself. So that's why she left Woodsboro when she became 18. And then she was gone 5 years after she became 18. So, yeah. Also, one of the other characters, Amber, also lived in Stu's house, which I thought was pretty interesting. Like, I don't think I realized that until, like, later on in the movie. But, like, I just thought it was interesting because they killed... So they went after Taylor, which is Billy Loomis's daughter. And then they went after this other guy who was just a jerk. And then they went after Wes, which I'll go over that with the sheriff. And then, you know, so they went over people who had, like, connections to it or whatever. So, them being in Stu's house, and then at the end, the party was in Stu's house, in the house, because she had one, or whatever. So I thought that was really interesting how they did that. Because I think in the first movie, it took place at a party, and, like, you know. Yeah. Okay, so, I don't know if you guys know, but in the first movie, Randy was watching Halloween, and he was telling Laurie Strode to look behind her because, you know, Michael Myers was behind her. And then we're watching, you know, like, the audience, us, is watching it. And then we're telling Randy, look behind you. So then it has Mindy, because she was watching Stab 1. So then Mindy was telling Randy, look behind you. And then like, the ghost face was behind Mindy. So, like, Mindy, look behind you. So, like, the whole thing was funny. Like, us saw Mindy look behind her. And she saw Mandy look behind her. And then Mandy's looking, you know, like, the whole, like, thing was kind of funny. So, we're going to go on to some of my dislikes. Because now we're getting on to it. So, basically, you guys don't know, Gail and Dewey were married in the fourth one. But then this one, they got a divorce. Which we find out later, it's Dewey wanted it. I thought it would be Gail. Basically what happened was she got her own show, I think in New York, and he left in the middle of the night. And I think he retired from being a deputy, which I hated that. And then, so I'm just gonna, like, jump around with my dislikes, because whatever. But then we'll jump on to Wes, because he got home, the sheriff, his son. And he was going to take a shower, and then the sheriff was, you know, driving to get some sushi, and then he got a call from Ghostface, basically saying that they were coming for Wes. So then she was talking to Ghostface, and then she was trying to call Wes, which Wes was in the shower. But then she was like, you know, like, she's the sheriff in this one. So she called her cops and, like, come to my house, go to my house. They didn't show up. She got there. Ghostface stabbed her, and she was running up to the door. And then it skips to when Wes gets out of the shower, checks his phone, gets dressed, goes downstairs, and then opens the door or whatever, and then shuts it, and then, you know, like, the Ghostface stabs him, and there's still no cops, which just stressed me out how that had to have been at least half an hour, 45 minutes that the cops didn't get there. And if the sheriff is saying, all deputies to my house, I think it would not have taken that long. So, yeah. And it also had, like things, like, he would open it and, like, make, like, music and everything, like, he'll shut the door or the fridge door, and then there'll be a jump scare, and there wasn't. Okay, and then happened was, of course, Taylor was in the hospital, and, like, they were supposed to have, when Samantha was visiting Taylor in the hospital, she went to the cafeteria, and Ghostface was there and attacked her. So then, of course, you know, like, they're thinking, like, I'm Billy Loomis's daughter, they're gonna go after Taylor. So they wanted cops to go and look for Taylor, like, to, you know, stay after her. And they put on a private floor, which I think is stupid, because I think putting on a floor of people, which, because, you know, make it easier to run and find someone, because the ghost is most likely gonna go and get her when she's all alone than when she's in a crowd. And then, so that was dumb. And then the only person watching her came, this is Sister Sheriff and Wes. So then no one was watching Taylor. She was alone on her own private floor. So Deputy Dewey, which he wasn't the deputy in this one, and Samantha run to save Taylor, which she does get saved, and it's this whole sequence. And then this is the worst part of this entire movie, which I hated. So if you guys are on here like, okay, that isn't a big spoiler, I'm getting into the biggest spoiler ever. So leave right now if you do not want this whole movie to be spoiled. So, happened was, you know, they shot Dewey shot Ghostface and then running in the elevator. And Dewey said you have to shoot him in the head or he's going to come back. So for some odd reason, which I love you, Dewey, but the most stupidest thing he ever done was when they got off the elevator, he went to go shoot Ghostface, but then Gale calls him, and he looks away, and then Ghostface kills him. And they're all like, you guys think, whatever, because, like, every movie he gets stabbed, you think he's gonna die, but then he lives. No, he died. I cried. I don't even know how he died, because I literally was like this, like, crying. Yes, I know, because it's stupid, and then I cried, but you know what? The main character we've had for the last, like, 4 movies, it was Dewey. Like, he had, like, like, he was, so sweet, and he wanted to protect everyone and everything, which I guess I understood why they killed Dewey and not Sydney or Gale. Spoiler alert. Because, like, without Dewey, Gale and Sydney wouldn't be really friends, because, like, Dewey had a personal relationship with the both of them. Because, Dewey married Gale, and then Dewey was Sydney's best friend's brother, so, a personal relationship with him. So I feel like that was together. What am I thinking now? Gale and Dewey do talk with the whole reporter thing, because, she's all Porter again. So she went to go talk about it, and then, oh my gosh, I missed this part. So, I'm so bad at, like, going from, like, plot to plot. I go, like, from, like, the first part movie, it's, like, 45 minutes later to 20, but, So, basically, Samantha wants to keep Tara safe, so she goes to Dewey, because, he knows what to do, and then they talk, and then Dewey calls Sydney, which, this is really cool, and calls her, and it's like, just so you know, it's happening again, don't come to Woodsville, and she was like, I wasn't planning on it. She gets to schools because she has kids, and she's married, you don't really know them, but you hear about it. And what's funny is he says, do you have a gun? And she says, I'm Sydney F. Prescott, of course I have a gun, which I think is really cool, because originally she was just supposed to say yes, but Novelle, I think that's her name, yeah, Neve, whatever her name is, came up with it, which I thought was so cool.
Do you have a gun?
I'm Sydney Prescott, of course I have a gun.
And then he just texts Gale, because of course not on the best of terms. So then when, Gale sees Dewey later, she yells at him and says, you're supposed to call, you're not supposed to text. And, so then, like, Dewey goes to Samantha to go to the hospital to save Tara. And then Dewey dies, and it was horrible. And then the scene of when they were carrying out the dead body, and then Gale knew it was Dewey, like, dead. The way she cried, the way they, like, it was so sad. It had to be, like, more sad than the death. Because, like, watching a character die sucks, but then watching the person's reaction to the character die sucks even more. Because I was just like, So then basically what happens was oh my gosh, Samantha took Tara and was like, we're leaving, we're going to California away from Woodsboro. And then she took Richie with her. And, of course, that is when Sydney comes up, so she doesn't even see Dewey, which sucks. And, because, what's her name? Sydney only came because she found out about Dewey and she wanted me there for Gale, which I love to, oh my gosh, I'm like, Gale and Sydney's friendship in this. It's so good. And then, of course, Sydney wants to talk to the new Sydney, Samantha, about, like, I'm the survivor, I know what's going on. And then, trying to help her, but, that doesn't work out. And then she leaves. And then Gale's like, what do we do? And Samantha's like, not Samantha, Sydney was like, I put a tracking device on Sydney's car, on Samantha's car. So, like, she's like following her to save her, because, like, they want to get rid of Ghostface once and for all, so it should all just stop coming back. And stuff, so then it goes on to the party scene, which Amber goes down and get beer, which reminds you of Tatum from the first one, who was like, Stu was like, there's no beer, so she goes in the basement and then she dies. So I was like, this is where Amber dies. And then she didn't die. And like that scene, and then her and Minnie were talking like, you could be the killer. What if I am? Like the way, it just felt like dragged out and kind of stupid at the same time. Because when I watched this, I was like, Amber has to be the killer. So I was just kept thinking that Amber would just like get like a knife and stab Mindy. So then Tara basically, I think she has asthma and she needs an inhaler, and then basically she lost hers. So they had to go to Amber's house, which is where the party was, get the inhaler, and then they go into the house. Which I don't understand why Samantha wouldn't have just gone in and left. It makes no sense. That is basically where the final act is. Because then Sydney calls Samantha and is like, that's Stu's house. This is a trap. And then tries to leave. And then Mindy gets killed. And so does Chad. And then like they break up the party. And then Amber takes Tara to go and get her inhaler and then traps her. So I'm stabbed. And then ultimately, you can be the killer, you can be the killer. And then Amber's like, I know this. She just shoots Liv in her face, which Liv is Chad's girlfriend. So I knew that Amber was a killer because, you know, like, duh. Like, she looked like a killer. I looked like the way she was acting, you know? And then it went like that whole scene, and then they were hiding, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, Sydney and Gail got there, and Gail, they were walking up to the door, and then Amber was like, help me, help me, help me. And then they were like, trap or sincere? And Gail was like, trap. And then Amber was like, I'm not doing this, and like shot her. Or whatever. I'm so good at explaining movies. So that happened, but then they were trapped, and Richie is revealed to be the second killer. And that was like another twist, you know, like Amber was the killer and then Richie was the killer, you know. And then basically what happened is they grabbed a hand sanitizer and smacked it in her hair, Amber's, and stuff. And then, which this is, I probably shouldn't laugh, but it was kind of funny. And the way they, I think Sydney turned on the oven, and Gail, you know, because, you know, Amber was the one who killed Dewey, so Gail shot her, and she fell, because, you know, like, hand sanitizer is very flammable, so with, you know, like, that whole scene was freaking hilarious. And I did jump, like, twice in it, and, like, I'm not even kidding, I don't remember, like, when, but I jumped, so I thought it was, like, really interesting. But yeah, I like the way they ended it. I feel like they're gonna make a Scream 6, which I really wish they wouldn't, because they talk about how they're not gonna write any books, you know, like, Gail was like, I'm not gonna write a book about everything that happened, blah, 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 and I'm just thinking this should be, like, a good way to end it, or whatever, just because, you know, like, I hate that Dewey died, and I would hate for them to make another Scream movie and him not be in it, but I feel like at the same time they're gonna make a 6th one, because that's why there's so many new characters, and that's why so many of the new characters didn't die, because they have to introduce us to new people, because they're going to start making Gail and Sydney kind of like side killers like they did. But overall, I did enjoy it. Would watch it again. Probably had to like skip the scene when Dewey dies, like the entire like hospital scene, but like, boop. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. I know, for a movie review, this is pretty long, but it's a Scream movie, what you expect. But yeah, so, video, and I will see you next week.